I never planned to find out about the cameras. That wasn't how this trip was supposed to go. God, Sophia, you need to relax. It's Santorini, the most beautiful place on earth, Mia had said, refilling my wine glass for the third time that evening. This is your chance to reinvent yourself. No one knows you here. We were sitting on the terrace of our rented villa. The Aegean Sea stretched out before us like a painting too perfect to be real. The sky was melting into shades of pink and orange as the sun began its descent. I should have felt peace. Instead, I felt the familiar tightness in my chest, the sensation that had become my constant companion since the accident. It had been 14 months since I lost both my job and my fiancé in the same week. The corporate layoffs I could have handled. The "I can't do this anymore" text message from Ryan after 5 years together. That broke something inside me that I wasn't sure could be fixed. Mia had been my rock through it all. So when she announced her destination wedding in Greece and asked me to be her maid of honor, I saw it as the universe offering me a lifeline, a chance to escape the pity in everyone's eyes back home in Seattle. To new beginnings, Mia had toasted that first night, clinking her glass against mine. Her fiancé Ethan and his groomsmen were out on some boat trip, leaving us girls to settle in. I didn't notice how Mia's eyes never quite met mine when she said it. I didn't catch the way her new friends, these glamorous women I barely knew, exchanged glances when I spoke. I was too busy trying to convince myself that I deserved to be there, that I could still pass for a functioning human being. The trouble began on the second day. My phone disappeared from my bedside table. "You probably left it somewhere," Mia suggested, not looking up from her Instagram. "Besides, you're always saying how you need to disconnect." By evening, when it still hadn't turned up, I began to worry. "I need my banking apps, my tickets home." "Use my laptop," Mia offered, sliding her MacBook across the coffee table. "Maybe you dropped it during our hike?" I logged into my email first, and froze. There were 3 new messages in my sent folder that I had never written. One to my boss at the small bookstore where I'd found work after the layoff. "I need to extend my vacation indefinitely. I'm not coming back. I'll mail the key." Another to my elderly landlady. "I'm breaking my lease. Keep the security deposit." And a third to my therapist. "I'm discontinuing our sessions. I've found peace elsewhere." My hands trembled as I clicked on each message. They all sounded vaguely like me, but off, somehow. Too decisive. Too final. "Mia," I said, my voice strange and distant to my own ears. "Someone's been in my accounts." She looked up, her face a perfect mask of concern. "What? That's crazy. Are you sure you didn't send those emails and forget? You've been under so much stress lately." "I didn't send these," I insisted, turning the screen toward her. "Someone is trying to, I don't know, erase my life back home." Mia studied the screen, then shrugged. "Maybe you got hacked. It happens. We'll report it tomorrow." She closed the laptop. "Let's get ready for dinner. The girls are waiting." That night at the restaurant, perched on a cliff overlooking the caldera, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply wrong. The conversation flowed around me. Wedding details, gossip about people I didn't know, inside jokes I wasn't part of. I barely touched my food. "Are you not hungry, Sophia?" asked Vanessa, one of the bridesmaids, her voice dripping with false concern. "Or are you still on that anxiety medication that kills your appetite?" I stared at her, shocked. I had told exactly 2 people about my prescription, Mia and my therapist. Mia laughed too brightly. God v. boundaries. But her eyes held something I couldn't read. I excused myself and walked to the restroom, splashing cold water on my face. When I looked up into the mirror, I barely recognized myself. Had I always looked this haunted? This fragile? As I walked back to the table, I heard Mia's voice from around the corner. "Just a few more days. The footage is gold." Her face when she saw those emails? Pure viral material. I froze, pressing myself against the wall. "I still think this is going too far," a male voice replied. "Ethan," I realized. "She's clearly not well." "She's fine," Mia snapped. "This is what she gets for playing the victim for so long. Poor little Sophia, so broken, so needy. Do you know how exhausting it is being her friend? Always the shoulder to cry on?" I couldn't move. Every word was a physical blow. The wedding video company is paying us double what we paid for this entire trip, Mia continued. All for exclusive rights to the Best Friends Breakdown series. It'll fund our entire honeymoon. If she finds out? She won't. She's too self-absorbed to notice the cameras. Besides, we'll reveal everything at the reception. Play it off as a prank, a social experiment. She'll forgive me. She always does. I backed away silently, my mind racing. Cameras? A series? I felt sick. Instead of returning to the table, I walked out of the restaurant and down the winding cobblestone path toward the villa. The night air was cool against my hot face. My mind replayed every moment since we'd arrived. The missing phone, the strange emails, the whispers that stopped when I entered rooms. It had all been staged. My best friend was filming my breakdown for entertainment. Back at the villa, while everyone was still at dinner, I searched frantically. It took me less than 20 minutes to find the first hidden camera, disguised as a decorative alarm clock in my bedroom. Then another in the bathroom vent. A third embedded in the bookshelf. My hands shook as I gathered them. Professional equipment. All of them. This wasn't some amateur operation. This was calculated. Produced. I sat on the edge of my bed, the cameras piled beside me, and allowed myself one moment of pure, blinding rage. Then, I got to work. First, I found my passport and credit cards hidden in a locked drawer in Mia's room. Then, I logged into the villa's Wi-Fi router and changed the password. I disconnected all the remaining cameras I could find, piling them on the living room table like trophies. Using Mia's laptop, I booked a ferry ticket to Athens for the following morning. Then I wrote 3 real emails. To my boss, my landlady, and my therapist, explaining briefly that my accounts had been compromised but I was fine and would be in touch soon. Finally, I sat down and recorded a video of my own. "Hi," I said to the camera on Mia's laptop. "If you're watching this, you probably know me as the pathetic best friend from Mia Gardner's wedding disaster series. The one who had a breakdown in Santorini." I took a deep breath. "What you don't know is that everything you've seen was orchestrated. My personal items were stolen, my emails were hacked, my private medical information was shared without my consent. All to capture my genuine distress on camera." I held up one of the hidden cameras. I'm not a character in someone else's story. I'm a real person who trusted the wrong people. And while I may have been broken, I was never weak. I uploaded the video to my own social media accounts, scheduling it to post in 48 hours. Then, I packed my bag. When they all returned from dinner, laughing and drunk, they found me sitting calmly in the living room, surrounded by their cameras. The shock on their faces might have been satisfying if I wasn't so empty inside. "How could you?" I asked Mia, my voice steadier than I'd expected. She recovered quickly, tears filling her eyes. "Sophia, it's not what you think." "Save it," I cut her off. "I heard everything at the restaurant. I found the cameras. I know about the series." The others looked to Mia, waiting for her to fix this. She always fixed everything. "It was supposed to be a surprise," she tried desperately. "A way to help you see how strong you've been, how far you've come." By erasing my life back home? By making me think I was losing my mind? "You're overreacting," she said, her voice hardening. "It was just a prank. Everything can be undone. Except my trust in you," I finished for her. I stood up, picked up my suitcase, and walked to the door. "I've booked a ferry for tomorrow. I've also documented everything and sent it to myself and others. If that footage ever sees the light of day, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you really are." "You wouldn't," Mia whispered. "We've been friends for 15 years. I looked at her one last time. That's why it hurts so much." I spent that night in a small hotel near the port, staring at the ceiling, feeling strangely calm. The pain would come later, I knew, the grief for a friendship I had treasured. But in that moment, all I felt was relief. The next morning, as the ferry pulled away from the island, I stood at the railing and watched Santorini grow smaller. The white buildings stacked like sugar cubes against the volcanic cliffs, the blue domes catching the sunlight. It was still beautiful. That hadn't changed. What had changed was me. For the first time in 14 months, the tightness in my chest was gone. I could breathe fully, deeply. I hadn't come to Santorini to reinvent myself. I'd come to remember who I was beneath the pain. Someone strong enough to walk away. Someone worth more than being a plot point in someone else's story. My phone, my real phone, which I'd found in Mia's suitcase, buzzed with a notification. A text from an unknown number. Ethan. I'm sorry. The wedding's off. She went too far. I didn't respond. His conscience wasn't my responsibility. Instead, I opened my camera and took one last photo of the island, not as a reminder of betrayal, but as proof that I had survived it, that I had found my way back to myself in the last place I expected. 3 months later, I stood in my new apartment in Portland, unpacking the last of my boxes. Starting over wasn't easy, but it was mine. Every decision, every step forward belonged to me. My phone pinged with a notification, a comment on the video I'd posted from Santorini. It had gone viral in ways Mia had never intended, becoming a conversation about friendship, betrayal, and resilience. I'd received hundreds of messages from people sharing similar stories, thanking me for my honesty. This one was different. From Mia. I miss you. Can we talk, please? I sat with the message for a long time, watching the cursor blink. Then I set the phone down without responding and returned to unpacking. Some doors were better left closed. That night, I stood on my small balcony, looking out at the city lights. I thought about the girl who had boarded a plane to Greece, so desperate to escape her pain that she couldn't see the trap being laid. I wouldn't trade places with her again. Not for anything. I had lost a friend, yes, but I had found myself. And that, I was learning, was the beginning of everything.